Stanford comes into the tournament the #1 seed in the West. They have a 31-1 record and wanted to be only the second team to go through the tournament without losing a game since Texas did it back in 1988. You see in the regional, they defeated Southern Cal in 3 straight, also did it in the semifinal against Ohio State.
I talked about Stanford's freshman. Kristen Folkl is one of them, and she is key for Stanford. Another key freshman, Barbra Ifecika, the #1 recruit out of Canada. She puts up a big block for the Cardinal. Lisa Sharpley, the 3rd freshman in the lineup. Stanford uses 2 setters, and Sharpley is the key one for Stanford. Don Shaw, his strength, obviously recruiting. He is said to have the best recruiting class ever in the history of the sport.
The Bruins were the top seed in the South with a 32-3 record. They had a somewhat easier road through the tournament. You see they had to play 2 ACC teams. They beat Houston in 3 games straight in the regional final. Then Penn State took them to 5 games. Tough match, rally scoring in the 5th.
Outside hitters for the Bruins, Johnson and Buckner, and Kara Milling on the right side. She was the key the last time these 2 teams met. ALYSON Randick at 6'2" puts up a big block for the Bruins. And in the setting position, Kelly Flanagan. She's a young setter, and possibly setting is the weakness for the UCLA Bruins. Andy Banikowski in his 28th season, the most strategic coach in the sport.
Well, these 2 teams have met many times. UCLA leads the series 31-13. The Bruins putting the ball into play. And the championship match is underway. Kristen Folkl putting it over.
Right away, you'll notice 2 back sets to Sharpley, and that one is wide. Stanford will always have 3 hitters in the front row because they have 2 setters. It's a big advantage for them.
Sharpley with the error. UCLA leading 1-0. There's the set to Annette Buckner, and she comes up with the kill.
Michelle, the way these 2 teams have lined up is really positive for UCLA because Buckner is away from WICKS. And that's one of the things Banikowski wanted because WICKS is such a big block on Buckner.
UCLA leading 2-0. Triefenbach with the hit, and it looks like this is a ball handling error on Annette Buckner.
Looks like a double hit was called on Buckner. That's a tight call.
So Marnie Triefenbach will serve for Stanford. Nice jump serve. She's the only player on the court jump serving this afternoon. And here comes Kristen Folkl, and look how she puts that down.
Don't be surprised to see Stanford score a lot of points in this rotation. This is a good one for them. They've got Folkl, WICKS, and Wendell in the front row.
Stanford trailing 2-1. And Folkl is in on that block as well. You talked about her, the freshman. She comes up so versatile in this game.
At 6'2", she doesn't have to jump high to get over that net.
These teams tied. Kim Kroll with a nice low dig for the serve. She sets it again for Buckner. And there's Carrie Wendell with a nice little dink.
Wendell does a good job there of hitting the donut. You'll notice UCLA plays a perimeter defense, leaving that shot wide open, and leave it to Wendell to find it.
So Stanford coming on strong. They lead by 1. The Bruins set a little dink. Here comes Kristen Folkl right down the line.
Michelle, you'll notice all Stanford's points so far have been scored with Folkl in the front row. It'll be very important for UCLA to score some points once she rotates to the back.
4-2, Cardinal leading. Annette Buckner blocked. Here she comes again. Back-to-back attempts, and that time she puts it away, her 2nd kill of the game.
Buckner comes up with a big pound, set up by a great pass from Jenny Johnson. She's the Bruins' key passer.
And so now the Bruins serve, and the Bruins come up with a service ace.
Barbra Ifecika has a tough time moving towards that ball. You know, when your whole lineup is over 6 feet tall, you're going to suffer somewhere. For Stanford, it won't be at the net, but it may be in their agility as far as passing goes.
UCLA trailing by 1, and Lisa Sharpley comes up with the big kill, her first.
One big advantage for Stanford is that all 6 of their players can put the ball to the floor. And there, Sharpley does it. She is such a versatile player for Stanford.
Ann Wicks, the senior out of Minnesota, serving for the Cardinal. And Kim Kroll her second error in this first game.
Big block for Stanford. When UCLA beat Stanford last time, they outblocked them. So far in this match, however, Stanford has 2 blocks and UCLA has none.
Wicks serving again. There goes Jenny Johnson with the attempt. But Stanford's Barbra Ifecika manages to put it down her first kill in this game.
Banikowski talked about how important it was for UCLA to terminate the first chance they get. They haven't been doing that. The versatility of the Stanford attack is phenomenal. They've got their setter hitting in the middle, and then Folkl, who has been incredible, not only going over the UCLA block, but through it. UCLA needs to get the game off the net and continue to play defense if they want to come ahead in this game.
And there's the Folkl family in from St. Louis, Missouri. Bruins trailing 10-8. Kelly Flanagan back to serve for UCLA. Carrie Wendell on the hit, but it goes wide, and that's error number 3 for Wendell.
Just long. You'll notice Carrie Wendell hits with her left hand. She's the only lefty on the Cardinal squad.
Flanagan serving again, but this time an error, and we now have a substitution.
We have Ann Wicks coming in for Rodert. Rodert was serving as a back row specialist for Ann Wicks. She comes in and serves and passes for her.
Ifecika serving. This is one of the 3 key freshmen you've talked about for Stanford.
And this is Stanford's best rotation with Ifecika serving. Here you see Flanagan just isn't able to get it high enough for Randick. We talked about the weakness in the setting position. Flanagan's a very young setter for UCLA. In fact, UCLA has flip-flopped back and forth throughout the season between Flanagan and Coleman. Andy Banikowski's had a tough time deciding which setter to go with, but Flanagan earned the starting role.
Stanford up by 2 in the match. There goes Annette Buckner, but nothing doing.
Tough to get by Stanford's front row right now. They're so big with Folkl, Wicks, and Wendell up there.
Timeout, UCLA.
And UCLA will call a timeout. Kristen Folkl so far has been the focal point, if you will, and this comes as no surprise to people familiar with the freshman phenom. This summer, right out of high school, Folkl helped lead the U.S. women's volleyball team to a silver medal at the Goodwill Games in Russia. Players like Folkl come along only once in a great while.
Well, Kristen Folkl is the natural. She's the Roy Hobbs of women's volleyball. I feel that there have been 4 or 5 players of her stature in the 10, 12 years that I've been associated with the sport.
I'm very flattered when people, give me accolades like that, but it doesn't mean a whole lot because I'm still so young and I really haven't proven anything.
She's actually proven quite a bit. As a freshman, she was named as first-team All-America, and now has a big decision to make. Does she stay in school, or does she try to join the elite grouping of players who are focusing on making the Olympic team headed for Atlanta in '96?
I'm still reviewing my options at this point. If they ask me to come train, I'd be very happy, but they haven't contacted me yet, and I'd love to. I think anyone would love to play for their country, and me included.
At the U.S. Olympic Festival in her hometown of St. Louis, Folkl lit the Olympic torch, which may just be the beginning of many Olympic pursuits.
She may pursue the Olympic volleyball team or basketball team. Kristen Folkl loves to play hoops. She will join Stanford's women's basketball team following this match.
So young and so many options. After the timeout, Stanford serves. There comes Folkl. But this time an error, Randick and Milling on the block.
This is a good matchup for UCLA that they have Randick and Milling blocking Folkl.
We've talked an awful lot about Annette Buckner, and here she is to serve for the Bruins. Folkl with the pass and right back up with the tip. Flanagan setting Kara Milling, nothing doing. Here comes Jenny Johnson. And here comes Kristen Folkl again. Doesn't put it down. Buckner out of the back row. And Jenny Johnson, again, this time putting it away off of the block.
Johnson does a good job of tooling the block there.
Tremendous athlete. There's Rafer Johnson, her father, yes, the 1960 gold medal decathlete. Annette Buckner with the service error, and so it will be side out Stanford. Back to serve for the Cardinal, Carrie Wendell. Back in 1992, the hero. She served 10 straight points against UCLA to help win that match and give the Cardinal their first ever national championship.
There's a net call on UCLA. Pass was a little too tight to the net. Flanagan giving her hitters a signal, telling her middle hitter to expect a quick set in the middle. Instead, she goes outside to Johnson.
And Johnson hits it wide.
She's looking for a touch, though.
She doesn't get it. Andy Banikowski calling for a timeout.
He doesn't have any timeouts left.
So is there a penalty for that is the question then. I mean, is this going to be a Chris Webber call? They're coming back on the court.
Very strategic by Banikowski. I guess when your team's playing that bad, you don't have any timeouts left. Why not try it?
I guess we can chalk it up to that. Perhaps trying to take the momentum away as it is game point for Stanford. Carrie Wendell serving. Maybe he's seen Carrie Wendell too many times in his nightmares. Here comes the set for the Cardinals. Kristen Folkl up, and she puts it away. And Stanford takes game one of this match, 15-10.
Stanford's ability to run the middle for points definitely key for them. It opened the outside up for Folkl and Triefenbach.
Welcome back to Austin, Texas, where UCLA and Stanford are currently tied in game two at 3 apiece. And Maria, Jenny Johnson has really started to come to life in this second game.
She certainly has. She is in the Bruin lineup because of her passing abilities, but she is having a great night offensively also. She already has 8 kills in this match.
Annette Buckner serving for the Bruins.
And that's a hitting error for Kristen Folkl. UCLA has finally started taking away her cross-court shot, forcing her to hit the line.
And Annette Buckner will serve again for the Bruins.
And a passing error for Folkl. That's a smart serve by Buckner to try to take Folkl out of hitting by serving at her, especially after she's made a hitting error. And it's just a great float serve because as Folkl goes to pass it, it moves up. Those are the toughest balls to pass.
Stanford once again on the receiving end. Lisa Sharpley goes up, but she hits it out. Maybe another point to UCLA. 6-3 they lead it right now. Folkl out of the back row. Passes it right over the net.
Yes, the jitters are definitely getting to the Stanford freshman, and UCLA is preying on that. There's an overpass from Folkl. Buckner handles easily.
And this time a service ace.
Passing breakdown for Stanford right now. UCLA is just doing a good job of serving their seams.
And again, the Bruins come up with another big point. They are on a 5-0 run. Banikowski's strategy seems to be working, Maria.
Little ball control error by Sharpley, and that's just a great block by Randick. She gets up and over the net so quickly. Even Banikowski's getting excited.
Well, his Bruins have a 6-point lead. Make that 7. ALYSON Randick with the kill.
Another overpass by Stanford.
And Stanford will take a timeout. There's Jenny Johnson, who's been big in this game, and there's Rayford Johnson, the proud father watching on. Back in 1960, Rayford Johnson won the gold medal in the decathlon at the Rome Olympics. But he wouldn't keep his athletic talent to himself. He would pass his multi-sport skills on to his children. His daughter, Jenny, grew up playing many sports, making her own name and never having to stand in her father's shadow.
My dad never put any of his trophies or medals up anywhere in the house. He really made a point for my brother, Josh, and I to have our own spotlights when we played organized athletics. So I think that was really important to him, that we make our own names in our own individual athletic events.
I think very early on we realized, 5 or 6 years old, she was very competitive and had a desire to be a player who had some impact on the game. And even then, she worked hard and did all the things really necessary to really be a fine player.
He tries to give me a few tips, especially about my hitting, but when it comes to volleyball, I think I'm the boss. So he can say what he wants, but I know what to do. So.
She's the boss on the UCLA squad as well. She has free reign to pass any ball she wants. Her team calls her the snake. They'll be right there ready to pass a ball, and in comes Johnson and takes it away.
And with a 10-3 lead, UCLA puts another point, making it 11-3. Jenny Johnson, a big part of this there is Rafer, videotaping as per usual. And here again comes Jenny.
It's a tight set outside, and yet she manages to put it through. It's a great play by Johnson.
Her 9th kill in this match so far.
And TRIEFENBACH also given a tight set. She pushes it through with a great line shot.
And here comes a substitution for Stanford. Eileen Murphy coming in, Katrine Juilliard going out.
Stanford looking for even more height at the net, putting Murphy in, looking for a big hit from her at 6'2". And right away she makes an impact, blocking that ball.
And Kim Kroll hitting it just wide. Stanford finally coming up with a point. It is 12-4 UCLA. Stanford getting its first point after UCLA went on a 9-point run. And WICKS serving again for the Cardinal.
Kroll comes up with the kill that time. She's called the Terminator on the Bruins squad. She either terminates for the Bruins or against them. You won't see her dink a ball.
Well, there's a shank by Lisa Sharpley. Stanford just looks very unorganized right now, Maria.
Seems to be a communication breakdown. It's amazing how quickly a team's level of play can fall when they are not passing well, and that's exactly what's happening with Stanford.
TRIEFENBACH back, and finally a kill.
There's that whip of an arm swing for TRIEFENBACH. Don Shaw said if he could only put TRIEFENBACH's arm swing on Folkl, then you'd have the most incredible player in women's volleyball. Oh, what a pancake up by Sharpley. It's a great dig.
Huge save. Weak hit, but it falls.
Wendell finds the hole. Vanikowski doesn't like that call at all. Neither do his assistant coaches. Let's take another look at that pancake dig, see if it was clean. The ball has to completely hit your hand. That's a tight call.
That is a tough one to call, and I can't believe that coaches love to see their players do that.
It is a last resort.
Well, it worked in this case.
It's a great play by Sharpley.
Here comes Buckner. Oh, she puts that one down hard. Her 8th kill of this match.
She has 8, Johnson has 11. They have made this roll for UCLA happen.
Here comes Lisa Sharpley. Big block by Milling and Kroll. And suddenly it's game point for UCLA. Stanford has not lost a game in this tournament. This is unusual for them. Wendell setting Sharpley. She hits it long, and UCLA takes game number 2, 15-5. We are tied at 1 apiece.
A great defensive effort by UCLA. Stanford had a big breakdown in passing.
And game 3 of this championship match started off very competitively, and that started with Jenny Johnson.
Well, with neither team passing well, the key has been the outside hitters for UCLA. That is Johnson and Buckner, and both players seem to be responding well. As for Stanford, the outside means either TRIEFENBACH or Folkl, and Folkl at this point in the game still a bit erratic. She can be really on and put the ball to the floor. Or the other side of Kristen Folkl is trying to hit over and around the block and just missing out of bounds. Remember, she still is a freshman and can play like one.
In game 3, UCLA and Stanford tied at 6 apiece, and this match is tied at 1 game apiece. Kara Milling hitting right into the block. UCLA can't make up for it.
Stanford has moved its rotation 1 turn in this game, and it's a better matchup for them. They've got Sharpley head-to-head with Johnson and a much bigger block against Milling.
And WICKS will serve again for the Cardinal. And here comes Jenny Johnson. She puts this one away.
She doesn't have any problem with the Sharpley block there. She does a good job of tooling the hands of Lisa Sharpley and going down the line.
And so it's side out UCLA. Wendell setting Folkl. She doesn't get it across.
Big block by Flanagan and Randick. They just get up and over the net quickly. They have got Folkl's number. They're taking away her cross-court shot.
So in game 3, we're tied again. Here comes the set. Oh, what happens there?
Well, that was just bad chemistry between WICKS and Wendell. Just did not connect on the set.
Annette Buckner serving again for the Bruins. Wendell sets outside to Sharpley. Oh, what a nice up by Jenny Johnson, and then WICKS comes back to put it down for the Cardinal.
Yeah, but it looks as if WICKS was in the net and she followed through. Her hand hit the net. Let's take a look at that from the sky cam. Clearly you can see it there. You can't hit the net and you can't go under the net.
Buckner will serve again. UCLA leading by 2. The set for WICKS. Oh, and the nice dink. She puts it down. Side out Stanford.
Seen Wendell do a good job of connecting there. And WICKS is the only senior in the Stanford starting lineup. She is definitely the team leader for Stanford.
And a Stanford substitution. Wendy Romadka coming in as a back row sub for Kristen Folkl. Jenny Johnson tries to put it down, but is blocked. And once again, and WICKS comes up with another kill.
Stanford has a lot of confidence in WICKS to go to her 4 plays in a row, and she is responding.
Romadka serving again for the Cardinal. The set by Flanagan, Jenny Johnson, and it goes long. Stanford tying it up.
Johnson needs a higher set outside. She's got a big block out there. The Stanford block has started keying on Johnson and leaving Randick alone in the middle. UCLA just not passing well enough at this point to run the middle.
Johnson will try again. Triefenbach putting it down on Annette Buckner.
It's her 11th match kill. She's having a great night for Stanford, both hitting and passing.
Milling with the bad pass. Puts it back over. Wendell, oh, and Randick coming up with a big dig. There's Wendell again. And Wendell finally putting that away.
A great play by Wendell. Forget what I've said about freshmen being key, Michelle. It's all Wendell and Triefenbach right now for Stanford.
Junior experience figuring key. Triefenbach dink into the net this time.
UCLA just making less errors at this point, playing much steadier than Stanford.
So side out UCLA, and Jenny Johnson back to serve for the Bruins. Triefenbach. And Buckner. Buckner puts this one away. Point UCLA.
UCLA never figured to be in this championship game at the start of the season. They were ranked 8th. They've never finished lower than 9th in 26 years.
And the Bruins pick up another point after Marnie Triefenbach's error. And Kristen Folkl comes back into the game for the Cardinal.
Key for Stanford, she is now in the front row. UCLA did a good job of crawling back while she was out of the game.
Wendell, big hit. Kral coming up with the dig. Here comes Annette Buckner. And Kristen Folkl, it goes right into the net and out.
UCLA is doing a good job of keeping the pressure on. Their transition game is working.
So UCLA leading by a point. Here comes Folkl. Another great dig by Kral off of Folkl's hit. And Buckner, it goes off the hands of the Cardinal.
It's a great high hit by Buckner, her 13th kill in the match.
Surprisingly, the Bruins lead. Stanford will take a timeout. Welcome back to Austin, Texas, where UCLA is in the lead 14-11. And Maria, UCLA thinks it should have won this game already.
Take a look at this cross-court serve from Flanagan to Wendell. UCLA seems to think that she lifted that ball or had a double hit by trapping it with her body. I tend to agree. The problem is, as a ref, you never want to end a game with a call. That's a really tight call. I wouldn't want to be the referee on that one.
Bruins serving for game point again.
Triefenbach with a kill from the floor. She doesn't even leave her feet there. That goes to show you what an arm swing Triefenbach has.
Don Shaw will put Murphy back in for Ifecika.
Looking for some height at the net. Murphy is a more lethal offensive weapon for Stanford.
Service error by Sharpley. And so it's side out UCLA. They have another opportunity with Jenny Johnson serving. Game point, UCLA. Wendell, right down the line.
It's a great line hit by Wendell, showing her versatility as a hitter. She's in there as a setter, normally hitting from the right side. That time she spanks the ball down the line from the left side.
Triefenbach, not the jump serve this time. They just want to get it over the net. Buckner. Triefenbach puts it away. Point Stanford.
Triefenbach spanks it from behind the 10-foot line. That's a great hit.
And now Mooney comes in for Randick. Triefenbach again going with the safe serve. Here comes Kroll. Wendell right back for the Cardinal. Here comes Buckner. Oh, perfectly placed.
It's a great kill by Buckner. Good, sharp cross court. UCLA's transition game, very key right now. They have won 12 of the long rallies to only Stanford's 5.
UCLA again with the game point opportunity. Buckner. Oh, nice block. Wendell and Murphy come up with it.
That was a tight set to Buckner on the outside. Not much she could do with that with Wendell and Wicks up blocking.
Katrine Juilliard into serve. Eileen Murphy leaving the game. Stanford with another chance, still alive. And they give it right back to the Bruins with a service error.
Cardinal rule in volleyball, you don't miss a serve when the other team has game point. Stanford's done it twice.
Game point again for the Bruins. Flanagan. I don't believe they are trading these service errors at a crucial time in the match.
I can't believe Stanford didn't pass that serve. It was so close. You never want to lose a game by letting the ball drop to the floor, and that ball is just out.
Big risk, big reward. Kerry Wendell serving for the Cardinal. Milling. And now Sharpley, and she puts it away. Stanford, another point.
Sharpley does a great job there of hitting off the block of Annette Bruckner and out of bounds. It's a really smart hit.
And remember, it was Wendell, their good luck charm in '92 with the serving. Ramonka with the up. Triefenbach puts it over. Buckner and Triefenbach again. Here comes Folkl. Right down the line, point Stanford. We are tied at 14.
Folkl makes a great adjustment in this play. She sees UCLA's taking away her cross-court shot, and she sees the line is wide open, and she nails it. Look at this down-the-line hit by Folkl.
What power. Kerry Wendell's got 2 straight points off serving. Buckner with the punch and the big block by Wicks and Sharpley. Suddenly, it is game point Stanford. They lead at 15-14. UCLA had so many chances to win. Now it's Kerry Wendell's chance to put this game away. Randick, no. Here comes Folkl with a dink, no. Buckner, and another big block by Sharpley and Wicks. And Stanford has won this game 16-14.
So tough for UCLA to stay on top once Folkl got to the front row. Shades of 92 with Wendell serving those last 4 points. That is a huge psychological loss for UCLA, and all the pressure is off Stanford. In Game 4, Stanford came in just as hot as they left off in Game 3. Off to a 6-0 start with tremendous hitting on the outside from Folkl and some great defensive play. TRIEFENBACH also came alive outside for Stanford. UCLA came alive when they inserted Kim Coleman into the lineup in place of Flanagan. She does a better job of setting the outside, which helped Buckner's attack a lot, and she also got the ball to Milling, who was key in this comeback for UCLA.
So here we are in Game 4. Stanford has a 2-1 lead in the match, and they're leading in Game 4 8-5, but UCLA is serving. Big Wendell back set. Sharpley.
What a block by Johnson and Randick. They just get up and close the net off quickly.
And UCLA trying to close the gap. They trail by 2. Here comes Wendell. Randick with a nice dig. TRIEFENBACH. Milling. Here comes Johnson. TRIEFENBACH again. Nice up by Johnson. Jenny Johnson again. And this time she puts it away. That is Johnson's 20th kill.
Great defense on both sides of the net. I'm so impressed with the tenacity of this UCLA squad. They've never been known for their defense.
Folkl again, another error by Folkl, her 12th in the match.
Randick's putting up a wall for UCLA. Kristen Folkl struggling offensively, but let's face it, UCLA's got her number.
There's Wendell. Buckner with the nice dig. Milling puts it over. Buckner again with the nice up. And Jenny Johnson puts it down. Suddenly UCLA, after trailing, leads Stanford 9-8.
Big rally for UCLA. Amazed they've overcome that psychological downer of losing Game 3.
TRIEFENBACH. Jenny Johnson. This time it is wide. Side out Stanford.
Johnson tries to get a piece of the Cardinal block, but misses. No follow through on her swing.
So Marnie TRIEFENBACH will serve again. No jump serving for TRIEFENBACH at this point. Here comes Buckner. And Buckner hits it long. Stanford ties it up again at 9.
Very important that UCLA minimize their errors. That's how they've been successful so far.
Jenny Johnson, nice up by Stanford. Milling. Wendell into the block. Jenny Johnson coming up with that block.
It's the 43rd hitting error for Stanford. That's the reason UCLA's in this match. There are some signals Wendell is giving to her hitters.
Kara Milling serving for the Bruins. They are tied with Stanford. Jenny Johnson. And here comes Folkl. It is just wide.
UCLA is doing a good job of making Folkl hit the really sharp angle or the line.
UCLA now in the lead. Kara Milling continues to serve. TRIEFENBACH. And Jenny Johnson again. But the nice dig by the Cardinal. TRIEFENBACH puts it away.
What versatility in that Stanford offense. An incredible kill by TRIEFENBACH.
And so Carrie Wendell serving again for Stanford. What will she do this time? Here comes Annette Buckner. Right into the block. Murphy and Sharpley on that block.
What a wall. Stanford putting up a big block. Murphy's in there for her size at 6'2".
So we are tied at 10 as Wendell continues to serve. And a bad pass by Kroll. Coleman's got to just put it over. Here comes Buckner. And now Murphy, but it is wide. Side out, UCLA.
And again, it's that UCLA defense that is keeping them in this match. They are picking up everything. This is a great cover by RANDICK. UCLA showing such strength, being able to stay in this match.
Kim Kroll serving for the Bruins.
There's a shank by Kristen Folkl. It's a tough serve by Kim Kroll.
Enough to give her her second ace of this match. Kroll again. And Sharpley passes it over with her hands. And here comes Buckner. Buckner with the kill, her 22nd of the match.
Buckner has been key for UCLA. She's been so steady towards the end of this match.
Timeout, Stanford. Welcome back to Austin, Texas. UCLA leads 12-10 in game 4. The Bruins are serving. Murphy. And here comes Milling. And Milling hits it right into the block.
Kara Milling does a great job of using the block there, showing such poise for only a freshman.
UCLA with a 3-point lead. Here comes TRIEFENBACH. Looked like it went right off their heads.
Sure did. She did a good job of hitting high over that UCLA block. It looks like it bounced off Buckner's head.
Side out Stanford. Here comes Johnson. TRIEFENBACH on the dig. And TRIEFENBACH will hit. Ifecika with that block. And it looks like Kara Milling was called for a lift.
That's a tight call. Let's take another look at that. Kara Milling goes in to pick up this dink by Ifecika. Very tight call, but it looks as if both Coleman and RANDICK are under the net, so either way, Stanford deserves to have the ball. Milling's platform is very level, and Banikowski will show you how it's done. Not happy with that call.
Regardless, Stanford has the point. They trail by 2. Johnson puts it over.
Pass is too tight. Sharpley can't handle it. She's called for the ball handling error. That's a good call.
Bad pass by Kristen Folkl, and it's side out UCLA. Allison Randick, the senior, will serve. Here comes TRIEFENBACH, the kill, and that's her 23rd of this match.
Great play by TRIEFENBACH, only a single block by UCLA. Ifecika's back to serve. This is Stanford's best rotation.
Milling. That is Murphy. Folkl. And right over the block.
Kristen Folkl is doing damage on the UCLA block, hitting right through them. 6'2", Kristen Folkl, so tough to defend. And there she just hits right around the UCLA block.
Ifecika serving again. Some miscommunication between Johnson and Buckner on who would hit that ball. And Stanford has tied it up again at 13. They are 2 points away from a championship. Michelle Mooney has come in for Kim Kroll. And we'll watch the freshman, Barbra Ifecika, serve again. And Ifecika with the dig.
Set outside to Folkl, that's where I'd go, and Folkl comes up with the kill, her 25th, a new career record for Kristen Folkl.
And how appropriate that it sets up a 14-13 game. We are at championship point with the freshman Ifecika serving. Oh, and Stanford puts up the big wall. They are the national champions.
Stanford's power and size was too much for UCLA to overcome. They set the ball antenna to antenna, though the UCLA squad showed such tenacity in staying in this match.
There is Kristen Folkl's family looking on, watching their daughter as a freshman help lead Stanford to its second national championship in 3 years.